A very good afternoon to all of you. Very good evening, rather. I'm Ankita from NASSCOM. So today is the fourth back-to-back session from the NASSCOM product series. And today I have a very interesting webinar on artificial intelligence and undying hope by Rachit Chaudhary, who is software developer in IBM Systems. Before I hand it over to him, I have two more things from my side. Number one is that you can ask questions anytime during the session. Rachit will try to cater to most of them, keeping the time limit in mind. Plus, do not forget to leave your feedback to help me better my future webinars. Welcome, Rachit, and over to you.
Hello, Ankita. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Yeah. So today I'm here to talk about artificial intelligence and how artificial intelligence in varying degrees and forms has begun to appear in a wide spectrum of technologies. From the phones we use to communicate to the supply chains that brings good to the market. It is transforming the way we interact, consume information, and obtain goods and services. Healthcare is no exception. In healthcare, the impact of AI through natural language processing and machine learning is transforming care delivery. The future of AI in healthcare could, could include tasks that range from simple to complex, everything from answering a phone to reading the medical record reviews, reading radiology images, and even talking to the patients. We all know how healthcare can in various forms comes in various forms. Before I talk about the solution I have created, I'm going to show a small video. So let me know, Ankita, if you're not able to hear the audio of this.
Sure. I'm not able to hear the audio, Rachit, as of now.
Okay, just give me a second. Maybe it's not playing directly. Okay, let me try. Okay.
Now I can.
This is the Gorkha earthquake of Nepal, which happened on April 2015. It nearly killed 9,000 people and injured 22,000. The act of nature creates a catastrophic situation in which the day-to-day patterns of life are suddenly disrupted. People are plunged into helplessness and suffering. According to the 2013 civil registration data released by the Census Directorate, nearly 27% of the total death happens because of the lack of timely treatment, which means 3 out of 10 people who die or lose their life because of the delayed treatment. Now we know that timely response is such a significant factor in saving lives. Still, it is a matter of great concern. So as we can see in the picture, the epicenter of the earthquake was Kathmandu, And although the relief camp was put, still it took more time for the people to reach the relief camp. The direct route was disrupted due to the earthquake. That is why a lot of people lost their precious lives because of the delayed diagnosis. So what is call for code? The call for code is a global event or a challenge, you can say, is for worldwide developers that seeks technological solutions for natural disaster preparedness, response, and recovery. Motto behind Call for Code is creating open source technologies for healthcare, which can reduce the risk of diseases, create options for emergency care, improve data and resource availability, and help victims navigation. The psychological support also is needed during the crisis. So this is something which is I was talking about call for code. As you can see, over so many nations have come up for this, and all over the world, all the developers are coming and developing solutions towards it. So my solution for it was the virtual aid. Virtual aid is the first means of help to the people who are the victims during the natural disasters. So basically, it overcomes the shortage of medical staff at disaster affected areas. How are we going to do that? I'll be showing a demo soon. But in order to achieve this, we are getting help from the doctors or medical practitioners who are available who are in all over the world, but cannot reach the disaster affected area because of the various reasons. But they do want to help. So we are providing virtual assistance to the victims with that. So in order to do that, I'm leveraging the Watson APIs, which IBM provides, and I'll be showing what it does. So as you can see, this is the high level architecture where I have used a self-assembled and a self-programmed drone on which a Pi camera is mounted using a Raspberry Pi 3. Within Raspberry Pi 3, I have implemented an object detection model which will differentiate between a living thing and a non-living thing. So basically what we are doing here is drone captures the images from all possible angles and then it sends it to the Raspberry Pi where all the differentiation is done, and with the object detection model it differentiates whether it's a non-living thing or a living thing, and once it detects it, it sends those images to the visual recognition. So in order to do that, in order to do all this magic of object detection model, there are various of the open source softwares available. But I would like to emphasize on IBM code patterns because these are the patterns which are developed and are kept for free or in an open space of IBM, and it can be used straight away. So instead of going and coding from the very scratch, any developer or person with the least knowledge can go and directly take that and make the things run. So for object detection, I have used that. Now coming to the image. So once we get the image from the camera, we send that image to the visual recognition service, which I have trained so far with 5,000 images. The images consist of injured people and non-injured people. So it can tell you, with 80 to 90% accuracy if the person is injured or not. So once we find out if the living person, we send that images to the visual recognition and it differentiates. So why are we defining whether the person is injured or not? So let's suppose if a person is injured and we get to know by using the visual recognition service, we know by seeing that he or she is physically injured, then without wasting much time, we provide assistance to them by the emergency doctors who are just there to help voluntarily, and they are registered in the database. Let's suppose if the person is not physically injured, then I will check if a person requires a general health treatment or a psychological help from an expert. To achieve that, a person is provided with a set of questionnaires, and so that would be like, how are you feeling? How do you have any pain, or do you feel any pain? So due to these questions, a person's response will be captured, and once the response is captured, that response is converted with by using speech to text service of Watson, and it makes the text conversion, which gives the audio transcript. And on top of that audio transcript, we are doing a NLP, which is natural language understanding and processing. So once we do NLP on it, the responses of a we do NLP, and then we differentiate whether the person requires a general health treatment or a psychological or a counseling treatment. So yeah, the object detection model which I was talking about, as you can see, it can differentiate a person with the non-living thing, and even if there are a lot of non-living things around, it can differentiate with a very high accuracy up to 90-85% that a person, it's person or it's just a car or a motorbike. Even from the back image of a person, you can find it out that. So this will be a quite old analysis on the cost, but I would like to just showcase that in order to make that thing, make the entire solution up, we just have to spend less than 20,000, and it's basically the cost which we don't even get. We can help a person. So 20,000 we are spending to save one person life is worth it. So this is the self-assembled drone which I was talking about, quadrocopter, and on top of it you can see is the we have a Raspberry Pi. The blue one is a GSM module to make a call to the doctors, and the green one is a Raspberry Pi, and the one which is attached with a white globe is Pi camera. So let me give you a quick demo of the solution, what I have done. So this is the dashboard of the application where we are finding out based on the health issues and whatever the images or audios we are providing, we are finding out what kind of treatment a person requires. Let's suppose a person requires a external health analysis. We are going to upload images of the person which we got from the Pi camera, and those images will be given to the analysis which will be done by the visual recognition service. Now in the backend, these operations are happening where the image is being processed, and you can see that with 92% accuracy it tells that the person is injured and it needs, and he or she requires a emergency doctor. So in order to do that, we just made use of the visual recognition service. Now let's suppose if the person is not injured, and in order to proceed to the psychological help or any kind of general health, we'll provide the image, and we'll see if uh, till what accuracy it will tell if a person requires a health or not. So as you can see, with 89% accuracy, it can tell that the person is not injured, and he requires we need to perform other tests on his health. Let's suppose a person requires a general health treatment. I am not physically. We are providing the audio image which we got from the person's response using the mic we've had on the drone, and that audio file we will be sending it. And if you can see, okay, one second. So as you can see, the audio transcript using the speech to text conversion is also found, and it says that person is not physically hurt, but he has a headache and might faint. So on that we have done an analysis, and it tells that a person requires a general health doctor who can treat him. So the accuracy of the analysis is 81%. Let's suppose a person requires.
My mental condition is not stable. I don't know what to do. I am in need of help.
So here the audio transcript is again we have done speech to text conversion, and we have found out that the person's mental condition is not stable. And based on that, we have come up with an analysis that 78% that a person requires a psychiatrist or a counselor to be to provide them a treatment. Now you see, as I was talking about, that we provide the doctors who who are volunteering for it. So there are general doctors, there are counselors. So there are three different distinguishing we have done based on the type of what kind of treatment we can provide virtually to the victims or the people who have been affected. So people, whoever the doctors with base, they will register, and based on their qualification and their treatment, we'll be adding them to the database. Where, so as you can see, there are general physicians who can just treat them during the general healthcare. Like if a person is having a common cold or something, so he or she may not require a emergency doctor treatment or a counselor for that sake. So by doing the analysis, we will make a call to the 5 or 10 doctors at a time, and whoever picks it up of that category, the victim will be assigned to him. And at that time, that particular doctor will be marked as busy, as he is currently helping a victim. So as you can see, there is a status of the doctors where it tells a doctor is available and the doctor is busy. Similarly, if a person is requiring a counselor, so based on the whatever the questionnaire we have provided, we capture the response from the person, and based on that we will do a speech to text conversion. And after that, whatever the text we get, we put that text as a payload to the uh, um, NLP, which is natural language processing. So there is also a tone analysis analyzers, which even in you can find it in the IBM as well, which helps you find out what, based on the tone of the person, if the person is agitated, if the person is sad, and all those things are put into picture. And making use of that in NLP, we are finding out if a person requires a general health treatment. So these are the basically whatever the text we get, we do a word to word NLP on that, and based on that it will come up with some kind of accuracy. Like as we saw earlier, it does not tell with 100% accuracy if a person requires a mental health treatment, because the amount of data I've trained this model was for images. I've trained it with 5,000 images of injured and non-injured people. So with more data, the more accuracy it gets. And for these audio files, we have provided almost 1,000 audios like that of the people from the Google, and it trains itself. So as the data input data being fed more to it, the more accuracy it will start getting. So as I was talking about, so these counselors, these counselors can give them at the time. So at the time of these natural disasters, although the relief camps are put, there is always a chance that people have to stand in queue for hours, and people with emergency treatment, they get very delayed treatment. So if, let's suppose, if somebody, a qualified doctor who is virtually helping you and telling you, okay, you need these kind of medicine, so as soon as you reach the medical camp, or as soon as you find anything which can help you, you can tell them straight away that yes, I have been provided with this kind of prescriptions by the doctor, and I need these medicines. So it saves a lot of time for the doctors who are helping at the medical camp, and also saves the people who were stuck, and maybe because of the delayed treatment, they had to suffer throughout their life. So these virtual doctors are as I mentioned, that only 5 calls we are giving at a time, and whoever picks it up, the person will be assigned to him, and that so that conversation will also be recorded in case if a person has required a kind of a treatment in a main hospital or something, and he or she could find it out, so they can go through the records of the person and they can get to know, okay, this person has been treated or has had a talk with the doctor or who have told him all these things. So that will save a lot of time for everybody. So these are the three categories which I was talking about. It will differentiate if the person is a doctor, what kind of treatment is required. So as I was talking about the healthcare, we know that AI can be of huge help in any field right now, and as the technology is progressing day by day, we know that it could do wonders in life. So and as we are aware of the pandemic, which very much aware of the ongoing pandemic of coronavirus disease. Just to show how AI can be used almost everywhere, I have created a chatbot to provide awareness, statistics, and precautions to be taken during this time. As I'm still have to train this model a bit, but just for the sake of showing and telling how it can perform. So if you can see on the right hand side, the chatbot is helping uh, both in terms of what needs to be done and what needs to be taken care during this time. Okay, for some reason audio stopped. Okay. So this video was recorded almost 2 weeks back when I was working on this chatbot. So maybe whatever the data you are seeing is probably old. So in order to achieve this, so I have used NLP again, which will differentiate what kind of question being asked. As you can see that it shows something called hash description it is requiring. So these are the intents which we get, and using Watson Assistant, I have created this. So yeah, as everybody knows that social distancing is the only solution to it. So it says that, and so it we are basically leveraging the artificial intelligence in every field wherever we can, and do the wonders out of it. Saying that, I think I am done with that. I am up for the question answers if people want to have. Ankita, you there?
Yeah, sure. All right, thanks Rachit for this presentation. Let's begin the Q&A round. So the first question is by Dr. Dharmamaya, asking this application can be used these days for improving patient health using this application. I'm not so sure that, yeah.
Okay. In what aspect you're talking about? Yes, if a person is diabetic and he or she requires a treatment, a very timely treatment, because it can have any impact on the person. So yes, we can use this drone-based facility, which will help. I'm not sure how we are going to make that happen, but definitely that's this solution which I was talking about is created in 24 hours, in less than 24 hours, as a part of this call for code hackathon. And since then, lot of people have approached asking, okay, this can be used here and there. So yes, it is very much feasible to use this in multiple ways. One of the use cases I will talk about is during natural disasters. Is Okay, my voice. Okay, fine. So yeah, during natural disasters, we have seen that people are stuck, and instead of finding a way out, the people go through a lot of panic, and they find it difficult to get out of the place where they're stuck at. So maybe drone can be used to guide them around as what way should be taken, and at the same time how to get the medical facilities be provided to the people who are stuck. So at that time we can help them, or we can help by giving geographical locations of those people who are stagnant at a place to the medical team, and they can reach out to them in a much timely manner than they themselves going around and searching for the people. I hope that answers the question.
Sure, thanks Rajat for the answer. The next question is by Neeraj. Can images upload automatically with group image for same person? If person A is injured, we might need number of images to analyze the injury and recommend doctor. Is it possible?
Correct. So the problem, so this dashboard which I have shown it to you is just for the sake of demo. Now, in the real life scenario, the drone has a Raspberry Pi which has the programmed model, and during that time what it does is during so how the work how the self-programmed drone works is it takes pictures of from all, try to take pictures from all possible angles, like from 45-degree and from the lateral view or from the side view or any view, and whatever the pictures we gather, we club them together and send it as a zip file, or we can send them. But just for the demo, I've shown one picture, but yes, multiple pictures can be taken and can be given for reviewing. And yes, it's very difficult to analyze. Let's suppose if a person is hit on the side, and you take the image from the other side, it's very difficult to tell if the person is injured or not. So that's why we are relying that on a feature that will take the images from all possible angle to give the better clarity and to give the better treatment to the people.
Sure. Thanks, Rachit. Nisha has a question for you. What software you have used for self-programmed drone?
Okay. So in order to do that, we have used so as I was talking about, the call for code encourages people to use open source technologies. So I have used ArduPilot, which is an open source autopilot software. It is used. It is installed in more than a million drones already, and other UAVs, including airplanes, helicopters, boats, and submarines. So that's pretty much available on the Google. It's open source, so I have used that to achieve it.
All right. Shika has a question for you. If a person needs help and he doesn't know English, then what is the solution for that? As you said, English is the language.
Correct. So actually, as a part of hackathon, I've used Watson. So Watson is working on 5 global languages, which includes English and some Spanish and Japanese as well. So yes, in order to use any regional language, let's suppose you wanted to help people stuck in Tamil Nadu, or a few years back we had a flood over there. So at that time we can use make use of the open source. There are a lot of APIs available, okay, which can make the conversion from a regional language to in English or any regional language, and then we can do a NLP on top of it. So the language is not a barrier here. We can use any language, but for the demo or for the limitation of Watson, we have used we are providing only 5 languages. Ankita?
Hi, Rachit. Can you hear me? Yeah. Let's move on to the next question. It is by Udit. He's asking, can't this application be tricked?
Be tricked.
Yeah, tricked.
Okay, so it's not a fully grown model which has come to market. So yeah, it requires a lot of improvement, and as of now, if you can ask me, yes, it can be tricked in many ways, because as one of the scenarios I talked about is now person's images is being captured from possible angles. But what if the person's wherever the person is hurt the most is not coming? Maybe he's lying around and under the debris. So it's one of the cases, like there are a lot of cases like that which has to be taken into consideration, and definitely it can be tricked, but as long as it's helping a person's, I feel it's a good thing to go ahead with it. But yeah, it's not a It's just a demo which we have created as a part of 24 hours hackathon.
All right, thanks, Rachit. Raghavendran has a question for you. Is it possible to share the website URLs of any beta and live applications that were demonstrated?
If you see, these are still in. If you can see, mm, I can share it to you, but it will be a private space which I put because of the free trials of IBM Watson services which I have used. So IBM, as a IBM developer, I can make use of it, but in order to train the model itself, it takes huge amount of data. Like as I said, I've trained the object detection model itself with the 5,000 images. So maximum 10,000 images it provides, or requests it can approve. So based on the request, I can, or maybe if you ping me personally on LinkedIn, I can help you with it. But as of now, it's not open.
All right, thanks, Rachit. The next question is by Badri. He's asking, can internal injuries can be identified by this API?
So internal injuries will be not be possible because of it. The reason is it does a physical analysis. So visual recognition, how the part of AI works is it detects for a blood basically. So if you see if a bird there was an image where a person was, although he was perfectly fine, but he was wearing a red cloth, a red t-shirt. So although everything, it could have given 90% accuracy, but it still gave 88%. So it looks for these kind of patterns. Unlike human being, it's very difficult for them to find it out. Okay, this, that. So internal injuries are hard to deal with, but as I said, we provide a set of questionnaires. In that we ask, like, if a person, how are you feeling and do you feel any pain? So if a person tells, yeah, I do have a pain, or I'm feeling like I've broken my bone or something, so at that time treatment can be provided straight away by or he or she can be looked after visually, virtually, by a doctor or medical practitioner who can help them around uh, with that. But yeah, ultimately they have to go to the hospital to get it fixed.
All right, thanks, Rachit. Arun has a question for you. What determines the accuracy of prediction percentage?
So yes, so determining of this is based on the data you feed, right? So initially when I created this model, uh, uh, so if you ask me, it was giving with almost 300 or 400 images, it was giving me less than 20% of accuracy. But as we provided more payload to it, and the model started to become more advanced and more trained because of it, then the accuracy increases. But yes, in any healthcare facility, if you see, uh, there has to be more than 95 to 99% accuracy they look for. So in order to make it reach to that level, I have to feed in more data set, and more images and more audio files or video files to it, so to make the model understand and get trained.
Sure. Thanks, Rachit. Amrita has a question. She's saying, can this quadropter used to detect COVID-19 cases?
Sorry, Ankita, can you repeat? I
Sure.
could not hear.
The question is, can this quadropter used to detect COVID-19 cases?
Okay, COVID-19, yes, I feel if a general health doctor we get in touch with and we get to hear the symptoms of the person, yes, we can, not with 100%, but if a doctor has a knowledge about all these things, they can at least suggest you that, okay, you may have to meet a doctor in order to get it checked or something like that. But yes, uh, there are multiple scenarios to it. Maybe you can send some packages of blood samples or something out from drone to the hospitals, and then it gets checked, and maybe you can see your reports. But to that level, I didn't. I did not create for the COVID-19. I just created the chatbot, which gives a very basic information about how the statistics are and what measures to be taken.
All right, Rachit, thanks for the answer. The next question is, drones cannot be driven for larger distance. How to solve this?
Yes. There are customized drone nowadays. So the drone which I have used is gives a flying time of maybe an hour. But there are customized drones, so with a customized battery life. So if there are drones which can fly for 3.5 hours, and they can cover a good amount of distance. So those drones can be used for better reach. But 1 hour of flying is also good enough. So if it's getting operated from a nearby distance, if it's getting operated from a very far range, but then we'll have to rely on a customized batteries, and then you can add on additional batteries as well. So nowadays people are using additional batteries which can switch in the flying time itself. So let's suppose if 3.5 hours has been given, so they add 2 or 3 to it, so it extends the duration of the flying.
Sure, thanks, Rachit. The next question is by Deepika. Is there any other way to go with which we can perform AI other than camera based?
Other than camera based is yes, like as I was talking about natural language processing. So it has nothing to do with the camera. What it does is it takes the response, and why we are doing speech to text conversion is in order to get the response in an audio transcript so that NLP can be done on it. And what basically we are doing is we are taking care of the sentences, we are finding meanings out of it, and we are checking, okay, what individual words say. So if somebody says yes, they feel that they have a headache, so it picks up all those things, keywords, and do an analysis. If and then accordingly it will tell, okay, it has to differentiate whether a person requires a psychiatric treatment or a general health treatment. So in that case, yes, we can use an AI, and there are many other ways we can use it.
Sure, thanks, Rajat. The next question is by Sai Chandu. He's asking, Sir, for that chatbot, should we write all the description lines? That is, we should assume what all the questions we are going to get and what should assume them all and give it as a list for the chatbot.
That's actually a good thing. But what I have done is I've used the chatbot, but internally, if I internally what it's happening is it makes use of a webhooks. So it basically gives call to a lot of applications, a lot of websites where it picks all the questions and feeds it into the database to the model. So you do not have to specifically give a list of questions to differentiate. So you can define, okay, if a person needs a COVID description, so what kind of questions can be coming? So you can just hit those particular web applications which are already there open source using webhook, and get those data and put it as a payload to this train or to this model, which will train it. And so initially, even as I was talking, I found it a little difficult to differentiate between few of the categories. But as soon as I've started adding more data to it, it automatically starts picking it up based on the previous data being put in. So let's suppose there is a very less difference between, okay, what measures to be taken, and what is the now what is the kind of a description about it. So if somebody's asked, okay, this is the description, these are the things you should do it. So there is very thin line between them, or maybe the questions, if you see, they are very much similar kind of. So as I started posting more questions to it and started adding more links, webhook calls, it started bringing more data and started making it more advanced.
Sure, thanks, Rachit. The next question is by Naeem. What is NLP model used in text recognition? Is it include sentiment analysis?
Yes. So NLP has everything, and sentimental analysis is something which is very important part of it. So when I said NLP, it used sentiment analysis on it, and on top of it, I have also provided a tone analysis on it, which is and again Watson service where it picks based on the tone. So uh, I have made use of both together, and that's why the accuracy is coming little higher when we see. And otherwise it's very difficult to differentiate between if a person requires what kind of treatment. So yes, you can use sentimental analysis is something the most important part of NLP which we have used.
All right, thanks, Rajit. Ankit, who is a student, has a question for you. As a
Yeah.
student, can I know how AI is playing important role in the content that you have shown?
The content which I showed is, as you can see, almost everything is AI based. So there's visual recognition which is AI based. There is speech to text which is AI based, and all the NLP is AI based. So everything is AI based around it. Although we feel okay, these can be achievable without AI, but as the accuracy to in order to get the accuracy to that extent or to differentiate what kind of treatment is required, you need to put in more data, and as I said multiple times, that AI is the only way, or one of the best ways to achieve it in a shorter time. Because if you see, this solution was created in a very small span of time with a very limited resources. So if that can be achieved using AI, then I feel that's just wonderful.
Sure, thanks, Rajit. The next question is, can the speech to text conversion understand various accents? As our country consists of different people with different accents, what if the conversion of text has an error? How would the doctor contact the patient?
So in that case, if a person, well, as I said, it does not does entire NLP or sentiment analysis over the entire text. It looks for a keywords, and if it's unable to find the keywords, then it may not give you the accurate, or may tell you, okay, we are not sure what kind of treatment you require. So in that case, you will be given an option to talk to the general health or a psychiatrist in a very straightforward manner, rather than going through these questionnaires. So the questionnaires are provided for people who are not sure what kind of treatment they require. So I think that answers.
Sure. Jaya has a question. Sorry, Jay has a question. How is the prescription delivered to patient?
Yes, so this we have thought about a lot time, and we were thinking of providing a small kind of a prescription note or something, but that's very that requires a lot of effort. So what we are trying to do is so based on the conversation with the doctors and the patients, we record the conversation, and whatever the prescriptions doctor give it to them, it's been put in the not only in the verbal manner, but those things will be recorded and put in a database. So let's suppose if a person requires some kind of a cold related tablets or medications, so then in the database it will be given, okay, this person been treated or been assisted by this doctor, and these are the prescriptions being given by the doctor. So even if the doctor was incorrect, or maybe when they meet the actual doctor, or maybe the guy maybe meeting the place where they can get these medication, they have this in handy, and they can look into the databases and get the information out.
Thanks, Rachit. The next question is, how much area will cover one drone?
Okay, so one drone, I was thinking, so if you see, one drone at a time can give assistance to only one person, until unless that person is not been treated or maybe given virtually assistance from a doctor's, the drone will not go to the another person. So at that manner, it depends on how quickly the treatment can be given. And as I said, based on the kind of a battery life you have, you can cover a huge amount of area, and the distance from the earth, from the land, is close to 10 to 15 feet we are trying to maintain in order to get the good quality of the pictures. So if we get the good quality of the pictures, it's better to differentiate, okay, he or she is physically hurt or not. So at that time, so it depends on the battery life of the drone, and it can cover a huge amount of area if the battery life is good.
Sure. Thanks, Rachit. Another question, can this technology be used for identifying manual documents?
For manual.
Documents.
Okay, manual documents. In what sense? I'm unable to get it. Can you repeat?
Uh, Somit, would you like to elaborate your question a bit so that Rachit can answer you? In the meantime, can we just move on to the other question? The next one is how to solve the challenges posed by the pandemic using AI. Rachit, can you hear me?
You were breaking, Ankita. I could hear only the last part of it. Could you
You
please
want me
repeat?
to repeat the question?
Yeah. I could hear the only
Yeah,
very last part of it.
sure. The next question is how to solve the challenges posed by the pandemic using AI.
Okay. So the post-pandemic, there are people require timely treatment at the time of pandemics. But yeah, post-pandemics, like as I said, not to talk only about coronavirus, which everybody is talking about. I even showed about the earthquake which happened in Nepal, and so as we could see that after the earthquake, people wanted to get treatment, and although there were medical camps all over set, but due to the disaster, due to the earthquake, the direct route to them was devastated. So the people had to take a different route, which was time taking and all. So at that time, if if you can identify, let's suppose 20 people are stuck at some place, so if somehow drone can give the geographical location of those people to the medical staff, they can reach to them maybe through helicopters or any kind of facilities and provide them the medication. And it's definitely a good point when you are reaching and for the treatment, they are well in advance. They are knowing that what kind of patients they have it there. So with AI, you can shorten the time lapse and the time taken by these kind of issues.
Sure. Thanks, Rachit, for the answer. The next question is how can AI be used in the area of self-diagnostics for machines?
Okay, I don't have answer for that. Can we move on to another question?
No worries. Let's move on to the next one. Can you mention some places, boards, lists, etc., where I can find relevant challenges or tasks or problems that established companies would like developers to work on?
So, as a matter of fact, yes, the call for code which I was talking about and which I participated last year, and so that is going right now. So there are a lot of challenges, and not and it's pretty obvious that people are talking about COVID-19. So there are a lot of things which we can do around it, and people are making good solutions. So feel free to have a look at it. And there are a lot of hackathons which are going on and a lot of applications, but personally I don't have that clear knowledge on that. But feel free to have a look at the call for code which is happening right now, and it's a global event, so you can go and check what kind of open source you can use, and feel free to use IPM Watson free trial. It gives you very good hands-on experience, and it costs you nothing ultimately. So you can have a good hands-on experience in developing the applications of your own, and you can make use of the code patterns, which can give you the head start before by going and started developing from the scratch. You can directly take the code and build your model on top of it and make it more improvised uh, and better.
Thanks, Rachit. The next question is by Venkat. He's saying, Sir, is the victim's location is sent to concerned person like police, doctor?
Victim's location to the doctors. Yes, you can basically. So they have a GPS to the drone. So whenever when I talk about the self-programmed drone, so what it does is it makes use of the Autopilot, which is an open source autopilot software, and it is installed in more than, as I said. So it makes use of the waypoints. What is waypoints is it takes a particular programmed route. So once it identifies that, and it reaches to a place where a person is stuck or maybe requires a treatment, that geographical GPS location can be sent to the concerned teams who are on the fly and who are trying to reach to the people. So we have seen during these kind of disasters that a lot of teams and even the armies are getting into a picture where they try to provide as much help they can. So when somebody gives them the exact location of where people are stuck, they can reach directly somehow, or maybe try to help them by not looking here and there.
Thanks, Rachit, for the answer. Amit has a question for you. At the time of natural calamity, how to differentiate between multiple people talking? For example, one person has external injury, whereas second person has headache, and the third person is having different problem.
Yes. So I think this is called cocktail party effect. So what basically what it is when a party goer goes and can focus on a single conversation. So this phenomenon of brain's ability to focus on one auditory attentions on a particular stimulus while filtering out the range of other stimuli is something we have. So this effect has already been done using a deep neural network, and it uses time, frequency, mass. So this is basically an algorithms using neural networks we have in place, and I think it's readily available. So it differentiates, it helps you to find, okay, helps you to differentiate between multiple people talking based on the both decibel level and time, frequency, mass.
Sure. Thanks, Rachit. Again, another student, Dhruv, has a question, a suggestion as well as a question. I have a suggestion that drone should contain speaker to be used for announcement on affected area. Is it possible?
Yes, so the speaker, yes, I forgot to mention that if a doctor is talking to the person or virtually helping them out, they definitely need to communicate with them. So as I mentioned that the drone has a mic, but they do have a speaker. But yeah, we cannot put a loudspeaker on top of it because the drones have a capability of the weights as well. But it can be achieved based on the more advanced drones we have in place. So you can have a general announcements as well using the drones, and that is very much possible, and it's, I think a lot of people are doing that as well.
Thanks, Rachit. Soumya has a question. Do you plan to upgrade to spot human life during natural disaster? This may help disaster team to reach the right place at the right time.
Okay, so what exactly is the question?
Soumya is saying, do you plan to upgrade to spot human life during natural disaster? This may help disaster team to reach to the right place at the right time.
Yes,
I mean,
there's always, yeah, there is a plan to it, and people a lot of teams are working on that as well, but that is possible.
sure. Akash has a question. Drones cannot be operated in all climates. So what is the alternative, like floods?
Okay, during floods, so basically we can provide, maybe you may have heard about the projectile, which was came sometime in 2018. So that these are the clustered ducts that are dispensed and provides internet connectivity in floods. But yes, you cannot provide with those ducts you can even provide some kind of features, but you cannot put your Raspberry Pi to it. Some kind of feasibilities are there, but uh, unlike drone, it is not 100% you can achieve everything with that. And yes, there are a lot of concerns when it comes to rain or changing weather or anything with drones. So those are the limitations we'll have to again have to go with, and can maybe in future people will come up with some outcomes for that as well. But as of now, yeah, people are struggling with drones facing this kind of issues.
Sure, thanks, Rachit. The next question is, can the virtual aid predicts about fake injury? It means the face is covered with red inks or any other solutions, not with the blood.
Yes, it can do that.
Okay. Jesse has a question. What if the disease is about kidneys, heart? We can't upload a picture. There is a stringent pain. What does it use audio in that case? Would like
Yes,
to know.
yes. Also, the picture is only for to differentiate if a person is physically injured or not. So once we identify, okay, let's a person has a kidney or maybe kidney stones or something. So he is not physically injured. You cannot find any blood on the egg from the outside. So in that case, the questionnaire would be the one where we'll check the behavioral response and provide the timely treatment. So yes, it comes under the behavioral response kind of treatment.
Thanks, Rachit. Shweta has a question. Can these drones be hacked or jammed?
Yes, it depends. There are a lot of ways of hacking them because these are self-programmed drones. So the software that you use has a lot of limitations to it. So Arduino Pilot has some limitations, and I have seen a couple of more which has these kind of limitations hard to do with. Uh, but as I said, I have developed uh, uh, the entire model, not the drone part. I'm not a hardware developer where I will I can give you more specifics on the drones. I can talk about the services. I can talk about the AI.
Sure. Thanks, Rachit. The next question is by Lokesh. Is it possible to record the exact patient's voice in that wings noise of drone, and there will be a certain wind speed?
Correct. So yes, nowadays we have not only we can use that the topic which I was talking about, cocktail party effect or phenomenon, but we can also use that also does take care of the noise, background noises, which includes both sound of the drones and both everything. So those are time frequency masking can be done on top of it, and it can very much eliminates all these background noises. But yes, on if you want to do that without any algorithm or anything, there are small hardware components which come which can be attached to the mic, and they can filter out all these constant noises. So constant noises, when I say, it's like the noises of the drones, which is going to be constant for the very long time. So if it lasts for more than 5 to 10 seconds, it's definitely of the same decibel. Then it's something which is out of ordinary, and it's not a person talking. So it can eliminate that and make use of the actual voice out of it, and can eliminate everything out of it.
Sure. Thanks, Rachit. So it is 4:58, 2 minutes left. Let's have two questions, 1 minute each, before closing the session. So the second last question is by Amit. In case if a car got an accident, met with an accident, is the drone be able to capture the risk?
So yeah, if at that time, yes, definitely it's not feasible because the drone can take pictures from 10 to 15 feet, or maybe from the side angles, but uh, that's exactly something which you're not looking. The solution is defined only for the like as I said, during natural disasters also people are under debris. You can even see their hands and not their entire body. So maybe object detection will work. That will work even in the car accidents as well, from the side view or from the any view. But the treatment, of what kind of treatment is required, that requires at least some kind of good pictures are to be taken. So a lot of people even say that, okay, during okay, maybe the next question we can take and I can talk about
Sure.
other things.
Thanks, Rachit. So the last question is by Venkatesh. Since it looks like an integrated one as per your architecture, can we have this modularized, like only patient checking module to be separate from image and other stuff?
So everything is separated out. Just for the demo sake, we have a dashboard. If you see in a Raspberry Pi, there are different segments of different which are taking care of individual tasks all its own. But if you see the UI, you will get that kind of picture. Okay, you will have to differentiate. Okay, what kind of health issues. So, but on the real time, you don't have that UI or anything. It differentiates everything and makes use of it.
Thank you, Rachit, for that answer. And thank you so much for this amazing session, the demo. What a deep dive you did to explain the whole process. And so amazed at how AI is changing lives, becoming an integral and inevitable part in the healthcare system. So thank you so much, Rachit. And for all the audience who are listening to me, I will meet all of you on 22nd of April with another wonderful session on Empathetic Listening, Touching Hearts, Not Hands by Subinder Khurana, Chief Architect, Story Process. To register, you can visit nascom.in/events. Thank you so much, Rachit, for your time and effort. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, all of you. Bye. Take care. Stay safe.